Okay, I'm going to do a video about Carway because I went over there for a walk today, and I used to live there one time, and it's one of the many mistakes I've done in my life is giving up the house I had there. Right, what I do is, I come over and park the car here, and sometimes I go and have a look at I park the car there and I go have a look at the soccer pitch because I used to play soccer for Carway and play rugby for Ponyats. I used to play soccer for Carway and rugby for Ponyats at the same time. I fit the both of them in. And I also play soccer for Polendry. Yeah, I love my soccer as well as rugby. Anyway, I park the car there and I walk up here to Gwen Drive where I used to live. And it brings back memories of when I lived there. And it was a big mistake I did giving the house up. I'll show you now the house. Of course, I still know a few people living in Carway in this site. I spoke to one or two today. Although my good friend used to live on the end house there by the main road. He had died about, over a year ago now. I used to go over every week to see him. We were good friends. Good friends in school, good friends after school. And I went to see him 3 days before he died, and he said he was feeling good, and the shock I had then that he had died of a heart attack. 3 days later, I couldn't believe it. Anyway, we're coming in now to Gwen Drive. I'll show you the house I used to live in. I was walking here today and I stopped and looked at this house, right, and I can't believe I gave it up. This house was the most solid house I'd ever lived in. It was solid, brickwork, the floor. There was a toilet downstairs as well as a large bathroom upstairs, a 3-bedroom. And I moved in here the first week of the miners' strike. Now, of course, I was living with my brother and sister-in-law at the time. I was paying them good rent money, and they were having coal. And things weren't right there. In the end, I had a few problems, not with my brother, but with his wife. And the miners' strike was coming. Well, this was amazing, right? Because if I'd been living there during the miners' strike, his wife would have kicked me out. No doubt about that, because they weren't happy when I was there, giving them all the money and coal anyway. And when I had the miners' strike started, because I was a single, even though I was going through a divorce, I had 3 children, but they won't live with me, and the DHSS wouldn't give me a penny. So I had this house the first week of the miners' strike. Now, if I had not had this house and been living with my brother and sister-in-law, I don't know what would have happened, because, I wasn't having any money at all when the miners' strike started. And I moved in this house the first week of the miners' strike. I just had to get away from my sister-in-law more than anything. My brother was never there. He was working all the time. She was always home. And she was giving me a bit of a life. And I moved in here first week of the miners' strike. All I had was a mattress to sleep on and a kettle to make a cup of tea in the morning. I used to sleep on the mattress and a blanket, of course, and pillow, and get up in the morning and sit on the floor and have a cup of tea. Well, of course, my stepfather, Van Jenkins, the shop then, and petrol station in Pontiac. So I used to walk down there then, and I used to have some food with them and things like that. And of course, I depended on the food parcel. I was having no money at all. I couldn't believe it. I lived here for a year with no money, but everybody helped me out. Within 3 months of living in this house, I furnished the whole house with what everybody gave me from Pontiats, Carway, and Palendry. People are absolutely so good. And living next door to me, this is number 10, by the way, where I was living. And living next door to me was a woman called Flory. She was in her late 70s or maybe 80s, and she was a widow, and she was so good. She was the best neighbour I ever had. She was so good. And I furnished the house out. Within 3 months, I was able to have the children down. Now, the children came down, my eldest children now. This was before I got married a second time. And I had a fourth one, because my eldest children then was Melanie was 11, I think. Melanie was 11, Stuart 9, and Tracy was 5 or 6. And I used to feed them on the food parcel. By the time I was furnished and everything, I had cooker and everything was given to me. The only thing I ever bought, believe it or not, even though this house after 3 months was fully furnished, the only thing I ever bought was a kettle. Kettle was the only thing I bought. Everything else was given to me. And carpets, rugs and carpets, curtains. And Mandy living further down, she's got the laundrette now. She used to laugh because I had yellow curtains here, red curtains there, and blue curtains there, different coloured curtains. She was laughing about that. But I settled in, and it was a beautiful house, and I used to take my kids for a walk from Carway, and I knew everybody here. And, I tell you what, I got to go back and look at that house again. I gave it up then. I finally gave it up to come back to Pontiats. I was offered a house in my class, Pontiats. And, a swap it was, and I took the house back in Pontiats, but it wasn't as nice as this one. This was absolutely out of this world. And the chap living here now, I know his father. And if he asked me to swap with him, the temptation would be unbelievable. Because the good thing about this house as well is a place to park a car outside. Plenty of room to go on here a bit now, I'll show you now. Go on here a bit now. You'll see plenty of room to park the car here. Plenty of room. And you had a long garden in the back and a beautiful view of the bedrooms. Of course, Nantlice lived here. Well, he's passed away now, and his wife is left on her own. I'm told that she is a hell of a nice girl, she is. One hell of a nice girl. Anyway, we go along here now. Because funny thing is, I was walking here today, and I noticed that this flat here is empty. This flat is empty here, 2-bedroom flat. But no, I wouldn't take a flat. I could have taken a flat before. Anyway, the thing is, I'm holding the mouse and filming with a mobile, and I'm drifting away with a mobile instead of concentrating on my filming. Yeah, well, my children used to come down every weekend then. I always look forward to bringing them down. And of course, I'll show you now when I take them for a walk. I said, take him down to Pontiac's to see my mother and stepfather. And we used to walk the shortcut here. Come on, Google Map. Google Map is moving at last. You see, there's a path here. Goes all the way down past the golf course and comes out in Pontiac's. And I used to walk here with them and take him down there. We used to walk because I had no car, nothing, and I had no money. And they were happy enough just to go for walks, you know. And we used to go to Pontiac's every weekend and walk back up again. Yeah, I enjoyed my walk here today, and I spoke to one or two I knew. And I don't go every week now because my mate, good old friend, is gone. But I still know a few there who I see and chat with. And of course, we got old age bungalows in Carway here, look. Now, there's nice bungalows here in Carway, okay? But the parking here is terrible. You know, they're parking bumper to bumper. Otherwise, I would be tempted to take an old age bungalow because they're nice bungalow. And again, I know a good few people living in these bungalows. I'm drifting again with this mobile. I'm not concentrating on my filming. Right, we're going over here now. I used to pick blackberries and do everything I could to get money. And of course, we used to go picking potatoes, Pembroke. It was a hard time, a year without money. And of course, we had the club here. I used to come down the club here and have enough money for 1 pint. And there's so many I knew in this club who knew me and knew I was a striking miner, and they'd fill me up with beer and I'd go home drunk. Honest to God. I got to say, I found out who my friends were during the miners' strike when I had no money. I found out who my friends were, and there were times, you know, when I really enjoyed. In the end, I felt embarrassed in the end going to the club because people were all feeling sorry for me on my own, no money, and everybody was buying me a pint. Yeah, I enjoyed my walk here today, and it was a nice day as well. And the good thing about Carway, you see, is there's walks here. The thing is about Carway and living in this house, you know, it's hard to believe, right? Hard to believe. I could be living in this house today. I could have kept this house. Well, to be honest, when I had the redundancy money, I could have bought this house over twice. But of course, as everybody knows, I ended up meeting my second wife in Trimsara, and I ended up buying her house. But I could have bought this house over twice. And I had so much coal then, I filled my back up with coal. I had been writing with coal for a long time, thinking back the mistakes I did. And the good thing about living here, it's all flat around here. There's a nice walk down to the park and down to the golf course. There's all nice walks here. Yeah, I was walking here today. I just stopped here and had a good look at this house, you know, and I was thinking, why did I give it up? But then, we live and learn, do we? All right, I'll put this on YouTube now.